fishing for some info, but I don't do that anymore. I hear chatter on the web, static on my phone. Say hi to the feds, my bitch laugh and say hello. See, every couple years, gun prices hit the flow. Might take me in for questioning, but I won't say a word.
Yeah, what's up, black people? Welcome to another unlawful arrest prevention video. On this channel, we analyze crowdsourced videos of traffic stops and arrests in order to educate citizens on the ways that law enforcement officers may break legal protocol. Watching videos of traffic stops and arrests helps us see the tactics and tricks that cops most often use to execute the unlawful arrest of a black person. By understanding their strategies, we can develop our own, which allows us to punish them financially later by bringing civil rights lawsuits and winning large payouts. A few weeks ago, we did a two-part UAP series on Officer Rock Contardi of the Cocoa, Florida Police Department. You can watch footage of the traffic stop that got Officer Rock Contardi fired in Diggin for White Gold, the Officer Rock Contardi Story Part 1 and 2. However, if you haven't seen it, here is a summary. On March 12, 2019, the black victim was pulled over for a bogus tint violation. So he pulls into a shopping center parking lot, and soon after, a psychotic police officer named Rock Contardi arrives on the scene. The thing is, Officer Rock Contardi wasn't planning on issuing a traffic citation that day. Officer Rock, a former amateur bodybuilder of some sort, was on a mission to get as many drugs off of the streets and into his possession as possible. An investigation later revealed that The Rock had a long-running and known habit of seizing cocaine, crack, weed, and any other drugs and then storing them in his patrol car, his mailbox, and, on occasion, The Rock just took them home. Despite what you may be thinking about Officer Rock, know this: Officer Rock hates drugs. In his defense, The Rock points out that by keeping them in his police car or at his house and occasionally turning them in as evidence, he ensured that no one else used the drugs. And so this was The Rock's state of mind when he confronted the victim and claimed to smell marijuana coming from his vehicle.
Although I didn't smell weed, did I smell weed last time too? I smell weed again. Oh no, I do now. Much more pronounced. I'm telling you it is.
After removing the victim from his car, handcuffing him, and digging through his pants, The Rock placed him in his patrol car. The Rock then conducted an illegal search of the victim's car, but he found no weed anywhere. Here you can hear The Rock explain to another officer that he knows the guy has weed. The Rock tells the other officer that he didn't get far enough up the victim's rectum the first time he searched it for weed, so he is hoping that they can find weed in the car so that he doesn't need to go up the victim's butt even further.
Would you feel it or no?
No, I can't really get in there though, man, without going too. They put it right either under their nuts or up their ass. You know, but I'm not 100% confident that it's there, so I'm not trying. I like to find something in here before we went that route.
I don't smell it anymore. Rock.
You know what that means?
Is there a trunk button?
Yeah, I don't smell it anymore either, Dan. Yeah, I hit it already.
You got it on him.
Yeah, he's got it. So we're just gonna have to go in there.
Officer Rock finds no weed in the car and then decides the victim must have gotten it real far up his butt. The Rock proceeds to unbuckle the victim's belt, unzip his pants, and grab his glizzy in the middle of a strip mall parking lot before searching the victim's rectum. The Rock did not even turn on his body camera during the entirety of the incident, and the majority of his psychotic behavior was fortunately captured by other officers' body cameras. In fact, the investigation resulting from this incident revealed that The Rock rarely ever turned his body camera on, especially when searching for drugs. This stop ultimately led The Rock to being formally charged with sexual battery and cocaine possession. The Rock resigned before he could be fired. Now, we are going to look at a traffic stop that occurred the same year, only a short time before the incident that got The Rock fired, which you have seen some clips of. In this other traffic stop, The Rock pulls a driver over late at night and also suspects that he might have weed in the car. As anti-drug as he claims to be, Rock seems less worried about getting drugs off of the streets when they belong to white people. To be fair, The Rock isn't willing to let someone who has admitted to smoking and driving get off scot-free just because he's white. The Rock decides a good scaring followed by a motivational pep talk will suffice. He then tells the driver to hand over the weed and lets him be on his way. The Rock never turned the weed into evidence and later informed internal investigations that he threw it in the garbage. It is possible, however, that he also took it back home for safekeeping. Before we get into the traffic stop that shows the other side of the Rock, let's listen to an audio excerpt in which Officer Rock, with his lawyer present, is being interrogated by Internal Affairs as part of their investigation into his illegal search of another man's rectum. Just so we are all clear, this is how The Rock, who is willing to dig in a man's butt for weed, proclaims to feel about people who smoke weed.
It was my impression at the time it wasn't a strip search. When I think of strip search, I think of bringing him back to the PD, taking his clothes off when something is too far from my grasp. You know, if they hide something, it's not going to be too far from my grasp right away. And at the same time, you got to think about, well, if they put it in their anal cavity like that and it gets lodged up in there, it could be a health issue. You know?
Well, that's why we have procedures and policy for things like that. I mean, it goes on to cavity searches if we're concerned about something like that. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the policy is there to protect you and the citizens of illegal searches. Okay. And perfectly in this situation, I get that other people, there was drugs found on him, but there was no drugs found on him.
But it wasn't a problem then. Why is it a problem now? Because I didn't find anything and because he made a complaint on me?
Well, it's because it's a violation of law and policy.
Then why wasn't this addressed when that was going on?
I don't know why it was addressed. I mean, this is the first that we've gotten a complaint about it.
Okay.
And, you know, put yourself in that. If that was your son or your daughter and they just dropped off a friend who smoked marijuana in the car, and an officer pulls up and they smell the marijuana and they're thinking what you're thinking, and they pull him out and they search him the way you searched him in a parking lot with people walking around, how do you think you'd feel about the officer doing that to your child?
Well, this isn't my child. This wasn't an upstanding citizen. This was a guy that smokes weed, that gets arrested for crack cocaine possession, that goes to jail, that comes and wants to get a good cop off the street and file a complaint. That's what this guy is. That's what this kind of person is.
Yeah, but we can't take somebody's past and use it against them for anything future. I mean, what if this guy has, you know, he found Jesus and he's come clean and he's trying to get his life straight.
So why does he smell like weed now?
Maybe somebody was in the car.
Well, why didn't he say that? Did he say that during the investigation?
Well, he doesn't have to say it.
Well, then why wouldn't he dispel my fear that, officer,
he doesn't have to say it. I just dropped
my friend off. He was just smoking weed. Maybe it wouldn't.
But he doesn't have to tell you that. Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is? Do you know what that is? It's a right to not incriminate yourself. So during a traffic stop, I don't have to say a word to you.
Well, he was saying how it was the black and mild smelling.
He didn't have to. What I'm saying is he didn't have to say a word.
Okay.
He didn't even have to talk to you. Here's my license, and that's the extent of it.
Okay.
And then you have to investigate the call.
And I did investigate it.
Right, but you're investigating it. You just testified that you investigated based on his past. You felt like it was
just
worth
his past. It was everything going on. It wasn't just his past. I told you. It's the totality of the circumstance. It's not just people's past. It's their actions and behaviors while I'm on scene with them, during my contact with them, is how I go about my job. And I felt strongly that it was hidden inside his pants, somewhere and concealed, either under his private area or concealed in his buttocks. Based on my experiences as a cop here. That's where they hide the drugs, and that's why I did what I did.
And you feel it's justified to do that type of search to get the drugs?
For marijuana, no. For the smell of marijuana, no. Did I do too much? Was I trying to do too much because of maybe I didn't want this guy getting away with this? Yeah.
As you can hear, The Rock really doesn't like weed smokers. So much so that he is willing to go to extreme lengths to arrest black people who might be weed smokers. But now we will watch the other traffic stop and see how The Rock handles white weed smokers.
As always, before we get into the video, I got 3 disclaimers. 1, I'm not an attorney. Please contact an attorney if you have an urgent legal matter. If you need help finding an attorney in your area, please submit a claim through unlawafularrestprevention.org, and we will do our best to help you find representation. 2, unlawful arrest prevention and any videos associated with it are not for the criminally minded and are intended to help ensure legal recourse for citizens who become the victims of a civil rights violation. 3, never, under any circumstances, tell a police officer that you are going to sue him during the course of a traffic stop or
Red
arrest.
light. Florida Delta, Yankee Delta, Romeo 88, DYD, R88. Final's going to be just north of Counts and Fisk. Really, guy?
Sorry, sir.
Let me see your license, man. This your truck?
Yes, sir.
Why are you driving like that?
I just on my way home, man.
From where?
From my buddy's house.
In Cocoa?
Yes, sir.
You know that light's only a 2-minute light, man.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Good job, man.
You have other speeding tickets on your record?
No, sir.
In the stop that got Officer Rock fired, the victim was pulled over for having tints that were allegedly too dark. This is a non-moving violation. Having dark tints does not indicate that the driver is unfit to operate a vehicle, yet the Rock was determined to search for weed anyways. Here, the white driver was allegedly speeding and allegedly ran a red light. These are moving violations and could technically, if a cop chose to argue so, indicate that someone may have been operating a vehicle in an impaired state. Officer Rock asked the driver if he would consent to a search, and watch what happens next.
Was that 10?
Yes, sir.
Was that down by O'Galley?
That's down at Vieira.
Vieira, okay.
Yes, sir.
And you're Austin.
Yes, sir.
Anything illegal in the car, man?
No, sir.
Would you consent to a search if I asked you? Do you have anything illegal inside the car, Austin?
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
I got it.
How much?
Grab it for you?
Yeah. Don't bring no weapons out, though.
Yes, sir.
Is this just for personal use?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, man?
21.
What do you need? What do you use the pot for?
Just to smoke it.
Just a small. I mean, no disabilities or anything.
No, no.
How's your license?
It's fine.
Where'd you get this from,
Money.
buddy?
Yes, sir.
What's your arrest arrest record?
It's not at all.
None at all.
No, sir.
How long you been smoking dope?
For a while.
Still illegal, man.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? And don't be driving like that with dope in the car. Very
Not
foolish.
smart at
Very
all.
foolish of you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Are you high right now?
No.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Could you pass the DUI test right now? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see how easily your life can get jammed up
Yes, sir.
on a simple red light,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
Hang on for a minute, Austin.
Alright, I'm gonna play that interaction back in a second just so you can see how crazy it is. But to all my viewers, cops will never treat black people this way, and so don't ever, ever do what this white boy did if you are in the same situation. Black people in the same situation, this is what you would do. First, it goes without saying that you would not be driving with weed in your car in a state where it is illegal to do so. 1, because that isn't smart, and 2, because this channel is called Unlawful Arrest Prevention. The Rock could have lawfully arrested the driver at this point, since he has handed over weed, and at this moment the officer has probable cause to do DUI tests or bring him to the station for further testing, and have his car towed. So with that being established, obviously, first you need to start filming or recording on your phone. As we already know, this is a rare occasion when The Rock did have his body camera on. Having hidden cameras and mics in your car is even better and much more effective. Now, the officer says, would you consent to a search of your car? You say, I do not consent to a search of my vehicle or my person. I will wait patiently. however, for as long as it takes to write my traffic citation, and then I would like to be on my way, but I do not consent to a search of my vehicle or person. If the officer says, "Do you have anything illegal in your car?" you say, "I do not feel comfortable answering any more questions without a lawyer present. Are you going to write me a traffic citation?" Then if the officer asks to search your car again, you just repeat, "I do not consent to a search of my vehicle or person." You repeat this even if he begins searching your car anyway, and you continue to repeat it clearly and calmly, but loudly enough to be heard on any devices that are or may be recording. In response to anything the cops ask you at this point, you either say, "I do not feel comfortable answering any more questions without a lawyer present." If the cop isn't searching your car and is just interrogating you, you can also ask, "Am I detained or am I free to go?" Other than that, you do not say anything else.
Was that 10?
Yes, sir.
Was that down by O'Galley?
Yeah, down at Vieira.
Vieira. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you're Austin.
Yes, sir.
Anything illegal in the car, man?
Yes, sir.
Would you consent to a search if I asked you? Do you have anything illegal inside the car, Austin?
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
I got it.
How much?
Grab it for you?
Yeah. Don't bring no weapons out, though.
Yes, sir.
Is this just for personal use?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, man?
21.
What do you need? What do you use the pot for?
Just to smoke it.
Just a small. I mean, no disabilities or anything.
No.
How's your license?
It's fine.
Where'd you get this from?
Money.
Buddy.
Yes, sir.
What's your arrest arrest record?
It's none at all.
None at all.
No, sir.
How long you been smoking dope?
For a while.
Still illegal, man.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? And don't be driving like that with dope in the car. Very
Not
foolish.
smart at
Very
all.
foolish of you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Are you high right now?
No.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Could you pass the DUI test right now? See what I'm saying?
No.
You see how easily your life can get jammed up
Yes, sir.
on a simple red light?
No.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Hang on for a minute, also.
All right.
34 behind teletype.
Chicago patrol check.
34 teletype.
34.
Can you copy 2729 by number driver?
Okay.
Hotel 5220. Fucking ticket. Sweat for a while. Okay.
429P valid class C expires in 2022.
Thank you, man. You got a job?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work at Diamondback Airboats. I build boat tires.
Do me a favor, pull up along the sidewalk, okay?
Yes, sir.
What the hell's ran red light? Is that even on here anymore? Ran red light? Failed to stop at steady red signal? This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. Traffic. There we
As you can see, the white driver, after speeding through a red light, handed over the Ziploc bag of weed that he had in his car and gave a look like he was visibly disappointed in himself when The Rock asked him if he would be able to pass a DUI test. But The Rock didn't ask him to get out of the car. The Rock didn't rummage through his vehicle. The Rock didn't attempt to stick his hand up his rectum. Instead, The Rock gave a high school football coach-style pep talk and took the weed back to his car. As you can hear, he is more angry that he can't figure out how to write the proper traffic ticket than he is about the fact that the white driver may have been speeding and running red lights with weed in his car and possibly while high. That leads me to one more point. For all the black people watching, you cannot even rely on a black cop to act this way to you. That is because to remain police officers, black cops have to adopt the mindset that most of the white cops have, which is that black and impoverished, black and vulnerable, black and with a criminal record are the people who you target and throw the book at in order to get your arrests up. Any black cops who acted this way, or in other words were similarly understanding and lenient to a black person that they stopped, wouldn't remain a cop for long, either of their own volition or because the other cops would push them out, and all they would need to see is the footage of the black officer giving this kind of break to a black civilian.
You're getting one ticket.
Yes, sir.
You're getting one ticket right now. All right?
Yes, sir.
I can write you for speed. I can get you out here, do it for your sobriety. You'll fail those. Take your license, DUI, go to jail.
Yes, sir.
Jam you up for the marijuana, fuck up your whole life, dude.
I understand.
All right? I'm not going to do that to you.
I understand, sir.
All right? But let this be a learning lesson. God put me in your life today for a reason. For a wake-up call, kick in the ass for you.
Yes, sir.
All right? Don't do this shit.
I won't.
All right? You understand that? Because you have a lot to lose. All right? You got the rest of your life, man. Don't be stupid out here.
Yes, sir.
All right? Make better decisions. All right?
I will.
So, what's your phone number?
321.
Yeah. If sign it's not a mission of guilt, it's a promissory note. You're going to take care of the citation. You have 30 days to comply with the citation. Right by the X. Maybe do traffic school, pay off the fine. I'm not sure how much it is, but whatever it is, get it done, man. Otherwise, just suspend your license.
Yes, sir.
All right? All right, man. Learn from this, okay? All right, get home safe.
As you all just saw, when Officer Rock pulled over a white person for running a red light and then found a bag of weed in his car, he talked to the driver like a high school football coach, encouraged him to make better decisions, and let him off with traffic school and a get home safe. But when a black person was pulled over for having dark tints, The Rock illegally searched his car for weed that the driver repeatedly stated did not exist. When Rock couldn't find weed in the car, he put on his latex gloves and tried to find it in the victim's rectum, in public, in broad day, in front of a strip mall. The Rock never found weed, but cited the black man for the possibly dark tints anyways. As we have said many times at UAP, when cops treat all black people the way they largely treat most white people, this channel will no longer have a need to exist. Again, here is The Rock defending himself to Internal Affairs when, after investigating the body camera footage of both stops, they ask him why he acted differently towards the two drivers. Internal Affairs asked The Rock why he violated the black man so extremely when he had no weed, but treated the white driver with leniency even though he did have weed. As one final point, The Rock never turned this weed into evidence. We don't see what he does with it, although he claims he thinks he just threw it in a dumpster.
Well, and it's a good reason to bring up the other one. I'm going to move to that traffic stop now where you stopped the young man with the marijuana. We watched the video of that. And in that video, you ask him about the marijuana, and he actually comes up with it and hands it to you. You're willing to throw, or what'd you do with that marijuana?
It was discarded.
How?
I threw it out.
Just in the garbage?
In a dumpster.
Okay. So why didn't you just drop that into evidence?
I should
to
have.
Destroy. Okay.
I never got around to it. I should have.
So it's not a big deal on that traffic stop with the kid, the marijuana. Why did it go to such an extreme with Mr. Passaway with marijuana?
Because with the kid on that stop, he was upfront and honest. And if you look at, I don't arrest everybody that I come across with drugs. And I'll tell them, if you watch a lot of my videos when I deal with these people, if you're upfront and you're honest with me, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to let you go with the verbal warning. It's when you, and I'll say this, it's when you make me work. It's when I've had contact with you before and I've arrested you for things, or I have an indication of you may be hiding something, or you're in possession of something and you're being dishonest. That's when I look to pursue it a little farther, as opposed to honesty and being straight with me. Making my job a little easier,
right?
So I can get those drugs off the street.
No, and I get it. Everybody says that, but I mean, you're met with people lie to you all the time. That's what they do. They lie to the police.
That's one of the hardest things for me to deal with is people lying to me.
Right.
Because I take it a little too personally, and that's something I have to do a better job with. And I've said that before, and I still say it, and that's just something I got to work on.
Okay.
As you can hear, Psycho Rock got some things going on in his life because that made no sense. Anyways, the point of this video was to highlight how the Rock gave a break to a white driver in possession of drugs while speeding through red lights, but performed a rectal search on a black driver with dark tints in order to maybe find some weed that turned out not to exist. Like I said before, we cannot rely on black cops to act the same way towards us. Even with black cops, we must use our prepared statements or our script. To remain police officers, black cops have to adopt the mindset that most of the white cops have. That is that black and impoverished, black and vulnerable, black with a criminal record are the people who you target in order to get your arrests up. Any black cops who acted this way wouldn't remain cops for long, either of their own volition once they see what a dirty job and world it is, or because the other cops would push them out, and all they would need to see in order to push them out immediately is the footage of the black officer giving this kind of a break to a black civilian. Thank you for tuning in to another unlawful arrest prevention video. You can always reach out to us at UAP@unlawfularrestprevention.org if you have an attorney to refer to us, or if you need help finding representation in your state, or if you would just like to submit a video for us to analyze.
I hear chatter on the web, static on my phones, in the middle of a convo. I'm hearing dial tones, I'm just talking me a mile. They won't get nothing they want. Fishing for some info, I don't do that anymore. Fishing for some info, I don't do that anymore. I hear chatter on the web, static on my phones. Say hi to the feds, my bitch laugh and say hello. See every couple years, gun prices hit the floor. Might take me in for questioning, but I won't say a word.